Let him execute justice. But no, you're standing here as the lawyer, pleading on his behalf. He's behind you at the table. He's your client now. How weak is that? And then he says, will ye save him? Now, the word save here is our word that we translate save, help, rescue, come to the aid of, deliver. So they're doing the work of salvation. But let me ask a question here, and I'm sure this question rang through the minds of those who heard Joash speak. Isn't that why we offer worship? Isn't that the job of the deity, to save us, to deliver us, to provide for us, to care for us, to come to the aid of us? Isn't that the job of the deity? And so Joash says to these men, will you really plead for Baal? Will you plead on his behalf? Will you save him? And then he says, he that will plead for him, let him be put to death while it is yet morning. See, he turns the whole thing around on these guys. They wanted Gideon brought out, strung up, and killed. And Joash says, if you want to plead for Baal, why don't we kill one of you now? Because you guys are supposed to be Jews. You're supposed to worship the Lord. Maybe you need to die whilst it is yet morning. This is what they wanted to do to Gideon. Now Joash turns it on their heads, and they truly deserve to die for such wholesale devotion to idolatry. And then the payoff. Look at what verse are we in here? 31. In verse 31, the very last phrase. If he be a God. If. Well, we've had lots of ifs so far in this passage, haven't we? Gideon has thrown lots of ifs at us. But now we know where he gets it from. He gets it from his dad. He says, if he be a God, let him plead for himself. Because one hath cast down his altar. So if he's a God, perhaps he should be the one doing this work. Perhaps he should be the one knocking on my door. Perhaps he should be the one who's pleading on his own behalf, if he's a God. But of course, the answer to that is, he's not. And everybody under the sound of Joash's voice knows that. Knows that. Therefore, verse 32, on that day he called him Jerubbaal, saying, let Baal plead against him, because he hath thrown down his altar. So we have one of those mishmash words, Jerubbaal, here. The word Yarav is the word for to plead the cause of, and Baal, of course, is the name of the god. So they're going to call Gideon from now on the one who pleads against Baal, Jerubbaal. Let me ask you a question. What will they call you? What's your name? Will they call you a Christian? Will they call you a believer? Will they call you a man or a woman of God? Will they call you someone devoted to Christ Jesus? What will they call you? Or will they say, he was such a wonderful man of the world. She was such a lovely lady of the world. You see, it's time, folks, to make a stand. And sometimes we have to make a stand in the little things, in the little places, against the root of bitterness that is so easily crept in amongst us. And we have to pull it out. Because you see, that's where the problem really lies. It doesn't lie out in the valley with the Midianites and all their camels and all their people and their tents and their fire pits and all the rest. That's not where the problem is. The problem is in the heart, and that root needs to be extracted. And guess what? He's calling Gideons today. Gideons in this room, Gideons under the sound of my voice, wherever it may go. He's calling us today to pull out the root, the sin, to stand against the compromise, the hypocrisy of Christians who have stepped away from their devotion. What will they call you?
Jesus will meet you.
Thanks for listening to this week's message. Please join us again next time for another installment of the Creek Road Baptist Pulpit.